your country does so much with peacekeeping, with humanitarian issues. As the UN marks 80 years, what does the future of multilateralism look like given all that is happening today?
I would argue it continues to be a very promising future for the UN because look around. Do we have a substitute to the UN? Do we have another place that has the similar convening power of the UN? Do we have a place that can cover a lot of processes and so on? But having said that, I believe the UN itself needs to adapt to new realities, new emerging technologies, new challenges, and one would say with a lot of proudness that a lot of that is happening. You look to the Pact of the Future, you look to the open processes of the UN and so on, the way they try to adapt to new technologies, how they are accommodating the new trends like artificial intelligence and so on and so forth. It is happening, but of course we need to keep reforming the way we do the business.
Pastor, a couple of numbers I want to put out here. The UN Secretary General has been concerned about the situation in Gaza. The UN estimates 70% of all structures in Gaza have been destroyed. And we know that your country recently presented a 5-year rebuilding plan for Gaza. What are you trying to do here at the UN as you try to garner more support?
The plan aims to reconstruct Gaza, to maintain Gaza as an integral part of the Palestinian state, the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem, to avail a space for the Palestinians to live normally, to live as each and other nation, each and other people around the globe and so on. They have the right to statehood. They have the right to independence. They have the right to end foreign occupation in that case, the Israeli occupation of their lands and so on. So this is, I would qualify as an Arab extended hand for peace, because we want to end all the atrocities. We want to once and for all dismantle that wall of hate in the Middle East. And there is an opportunity. Egypt is the founder of that peace camp in the Middle East. To draw the lessons from what has happened in that aggressive war against Palestinians in Gaza was a stark reminder to everyone that we need to keep working together to restore peace and stability in the Middle East.
And Ambassador, given your role in the region, your country's role in the region, and global diplomacy role, how important is reform at the UN Security Council? There's been talk about adding permanent seats representing the African continent for a very long time. What is your thought on where things stand now?
We're part and parcel, integral part of the so-called Isilwini consensus, the common African position on the UN reform. And yes, I would argue it is long overdue. We need to reform the Security Council. Given the nature of the different conflicts and so on, we needed a permanent African presence in the Security Council. And to be able for the Security Council to get out of that difficult territories of polarization and so on, we needed equality. We needed those new members to enjoy the veto right as well. So that's when they are sitting there speaking on behalf of Africa, and they're adding to the great job done by the current 3 African non-permanent members and so on, then Africa will have a voice, But not only Africa. Arabs merits having a permanent presence in this, a permanent seat in the Security Council with all privileges, including the veto. And we want to preserve the integrity of the organization, the integrity of the Security Council, as it caters to fulfill its duty or so. And we need to keep working with the permanent member. But of course, to reform the working methods. Reform is not only about the veto or the number of countries or who would qualify. It's about as well the working methods, more transparency, uh, uh, um, get the Security Council closer to realities, reform the way we're doing the peacekeeping, and so on, reform the way we're doing the agenda. We're picking the briefers so that, we would have a balance, diversify the outputs.
Ambassador, is there any message that you'd like to share with our international audience?
My message will be a message of hope for the younger generation and so on, to keep working hard, to keep advancing the cause of peace and the cause of finding a commonality. Peaceful coexistence is the best way to guarantee peace around the world and so on. We need to work together globally in a much better way than we're doing as we speak, and that necessitates wisdom from all the parties, all the countries, and to keep digging for equality and for human dignity for all. Thank you, Baba.
Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.